when we are the facilitator of a space, and we have people who've taken time out of their life to be together with you and to be guided in a particular um, form, there's a there can be a sense of responsibility, but there's also an energy that they're all creating. For example, if you are participating, you really just want that person to relax and to say the words that need to be said, um, to guide the group what needs to be done to achieve the particular outcome, and their will is present as well as your will. And so if we as the facilitator are able to empty ourselves and to open ourselves to the will of the people that are there, and to understand that we are a group here and everybody is co-creating this, and I happen to be the one with the microphone, so what happens if I open my mouth and let the words come for them, let their words come? And that was a turning point in my life where I was able to speak without speaking. And I remember the moment that happened, because when I first began this journey, I never used to speak. For the first 7 years of holding circles, I did not say a word except take somebody's hand and let's take a deep breath and make 3 ohms together, and that was it. And I had advice from people always like, oh, you should say something, and oh, I'd like to say something. Actually, I think I could guide the meditation in the beginning, and so on. And I was always like, okay, well, maybe, But I always would say, if I speak, I would like it to be authentic, and I'm nervous. I'm not comfortable. I can speak to one-on-one very easily, but to speak to a group of people, it's different, because they're all, it's so different to speak to a group than just speak with one person. With one person, I would relax, and the right words would flow, and it took me 7 years.
7 years, a considerable period of regular circles.
Yeah, once a week. And what actually triggered it was once I was part of a circle where I didn't really know everybody, and there was quite a few odd people that came that weren't really resonating with the chanting. For example, one woman brought her husband along because she thought it would be good for him. And he was just really uncomfortable. He couldn't even cross his legs, and he was sitting against the wall, and it's just like arms like this, and wouldn't sing. And then at the end, I always would make a circle and we hold hands. And actually, I was holding the hands, and one of the hands was his. And so, because he was sitting to the side, and I said, "Come forward, let's make a circle." And so we were holding hands, and I could feel, on one hand was my daughter who was playing harmonium with me at the time, and his hand, and I felt like we hadn't achieved what I wanted to achieve during the circle. And I could feel my daughter's pulse beating, and I could feel his pulse beating. And I just thought, I'm not letting go. And I just focused on my heart, and I was holding there, and I felt the boom, 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 boom. And both pulses were beating at exactly the same time. And I thought to myself, I wonder, could this entrainment continue around the circle? And I just held and waited. And then suddenly I felt that this hand start to shake, and I looked over, and he was melting and crying. And I just realized our hearts were beating as one. So I squeezed the hand, let go, and I bowed. And I said, thank you, everyone, in my silence, And everyone just sat there, not moving. And I was I just started to pack up my things, went to pack up my things. And I felt these words come up in my throat. And I swallowed them. And they just sat there, and while I was packing up, they didn't move. And I just felt so awkward that, for one, I was swallowing their words. And I felt like I was the obstacle of what magic was happening in that circle.